A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alan D'Souza, your host for today's very special program of Ground Zero Everyday Leaders. Unlike the other episodes, today we're just going to have me talking about the episodes we've had in the past year. Well, it all started in the month of August 2020. In fact, it was the Independence Day when we had the first episode. But before that, let me take the opportunity in wishing you all a very, very happy New Year 2021. Well, I think it is the much anticipated New Year by humankind. I mean, that's because we've had such a challenging, overwhelmingly unexpected 2020. For all of us, it has been a lesson learned in that particular year. And yes, indeed, what an amazing year. Many people had to actually adapt to the new normal. And people were learning that they couldn't continue businesses, for example, in the fashion they used to conduct in the past. There were lots of them who actually evolved as great entrepreneurs during these times. And that's what history tells us. It's the challenges that bring out the best in you. Now, when all of this was happening, I had to come up with my own innovative and creative ideas as well. And Ground Zero Everyday Leaders was one such. The reason I introduced this program, if I may, was to actually provide an opportunity to the leaders on the ground to portray what they have been doing. Not that they wanted to, but it is actually for a better reason. And the reason was for the people, especially the young, to see how these leaders on the ground, who may not be the much recognized one or the famous ones, but yet very impactful, the people who empower others around them, the people who make a difference. So now I had the responsibility of shortlisting guests for my show, and I thought that I should be actually having interviews set with people who I know very closely, very close colleagues. And my first guest happened to be one such. A person who loves to explore new things. I've known him for the past 2 years. A person who is a passionate biker and loves to read books. Viraj was my guest number one in the month of August.
As I always say, one of the most important qualities that a leader should have is a vision, and vision has to be really big. It has to be a big. That's one thing. Secondly, you should be always walk the talk. That is what I always believe. A leader should always walk the talk and not only preach. And the most important, or I would say the next most important quality is he has to be courageous. He has to own the failures and give the success. Own the failures, come forward, take the ownership for the failures, and also strong decision-making skills, skills which are very, very required for a very good.
And so Viraj had indeed set the tone and the ball rolling. We decided to have these programs or these episodes every second Saturday. And after the 15th of August, the second episode was broadcasted or premiered via YouTube on the 29th of August. And my guest for that episode was none other than Ravi Sharpali, a Rotarian from Dharwad. Ravi, a complete health freak, cyclist, a long distance runner, brought in that energy into the program, and in fact went on to describe and talk about the book that Robin Sharma wrote, titled A Leader Has No Title. Listen.
One more great book by Robin Sharma. Leaders have no title. Okay? There's no title for leadership. So you can be leader at whatever position you are right now holding in your life. Like, you don't need to be a top-notch CEO or a CFO of a company or a head of a political organization or some NGO to be a leader. So wherever you are, you can become a leader. And second thing, I believe, it is my thought, is leaders are made, they're not born. So it's all about the challenges and the setbacks and the roadblocks thrown at you. I mean, it shapes you as a person, how you overcome that. So when you talk about a leader has to be someone who takes his team or people along with him, who has a vision, who has a particular goal or objective, and he makes his team to believe in his vision and take them together. And not only take them together, be with them and support them and also like guide them.
And so things started becoming warmer. And for my episode number 3, I had to invite a very warm guest. The reason I say that is Samir Bapat, who was my guest for episode number 3, grew up with me, in fact studied with me during my school days. A very enterprising personality. Samir did his engineering and thereafter did his MBA at the University of Bombay and went to the US. In his role, or rather his journey in the corporate life, Samir has worn multiple hats and certainly an example of a leader on the.
And I started my career in a software company and then had an opportunity to come to the US in 2000. So since 2000, I have been part of the healthcare space and have been able to kind of play, multiple roles, wear multiple hats. My roles would typically range from leading teams. I started my career as a programmer just so that, that was my strength initially. But then as you move along the corporate ladder, you feel, you have the potential to kind of lead teams. So you self-evaluate, you self-introspect. There is constant learning, constant evaluation of a person happening all the time. And that led me to believe that, I have a lot more that I can accomplish by utilizing my skills that I have, and at the same time learning from my peers, my supervisors, my team members. So as part of that journey, I played different roles, whether it was leading projects, managing teams. But what my philosophy in general is, if you are able to manage yourself very well, you are able to manage your family, manage your time, manage your energy. If you are able to lead yourself well, if you take good care of yourself, then others will follow you, others will respect you, others will partner with you. So I think it all starts with your own self.
My guest in episode number 4 was Ashraf Ali, a corporate coach and a trainer, basically specializing in experiential learning. In fact, a person who inspired me to get into the field of training and coaching. Listening to Ashraf, who has a very strong message when it comes to our requirement to explore and expand and go beyond our own potential. That's what the lesson that Ashraf always provides in his sessions. Listen.
I always believe we need to expand our comfort zone. See, what happens if we get conditioned to way of life and we think, that's the way to go. But anytime something upsets the apple cart, we get threatened. For example, this online education now. See, what happened is prior to the pandemic, we had about 5% of the online education, 95% predominantly on the classroom. So scientists said that another 15, 20 years later, the scenario will be mostly online rather than the face-to-face. So what the pandemic has done is accelerated this change. So whatever change is going to come about 5 to 10 years later has come faster. So we are not ready for that. So that's, I would say, for example, for me also, having done all the trainings classroom. So when I see the audience that connect, that inspires me to share. But when I started doing online training where I can't see the participants or I have to just see the screen, laptop screen, it was a little odd and strange. But I said, you need to come out of a comfort zone, you need to expand the comfort zone and learn new skills and techniques for you to grow in the new.
Episode number 5 was unique. It had my first female guest, Esther, a child whom I have seen grow in front of me. Today is a mature musician. She holds that required energy that the youth needs to resonate with. And the message she had, especially for the youth, was something that we all have cherished.
I always used to say, do what you love and love what you do, because you have to be passionate in whatever you do. That's the only way you're going to enjoy it. And one thing I really stand by is rise from the ashes. Like, I even wrote a song called Phoenix, and it literally means, rise from whatever hardships you may have. And
episode number 6, we had Nandish Kulkarni, a person who could have taken off in the corporate world, decided to follow his heart. He came back from the Gulf, back to India, and became what he wanted to always in his life: a farmer, an agriculturist. Nandish relayed the challenges that a farmer has, and thus we should be challenged also for the little complaints we have despite the comfort. Nandish Kulkarni, a born leader.
Working in the farm is pretty tough. You could be exposed to sunlight, you could be exposed to small showers, and this could be for 6-7 hours at a go. And your takeaway could be less than 250-300 rupees.
Wow.
At times.
Wow.
And that's tough work. So you must appreciate how the food comes to your table. When you're in the field, you must work, you must motivate people. And I think that's the best thing you could possibly do, and keep educating people on how you can do better, and keep in touch with technology. There's a lot happening, and luckily the era we live in, most information is available at your fingertips. It's just how well you can process it and how well you can apply it.
Episode number 7 had an amazing fan following in terms of when the broadcast happened, the popularity of that particular episode was overwhelming. I had my guest in Mr. Sanjeev Prabhu, the Managing Director of Bliss Montagens India Private Limited, Mumbai. A champion leader, I would say. And probably a complete entrepreneur, if I may. He spoke on various subjects, and Sanjeev is always willing to be there for you when it comes to advising the young. Does knowledge sharing threaten your position? This is one of the questions which kind of every leader surfaces in his mind, and how beautifully Sanjeev explained it in our program.
Giving out knowledge, people feel threatened.
Yeah.
I have seen miracles happening by giving knowledge. It's an empowerment which an employee takes with confidence. It develops a confidence. It develops him to face the client, face the world. So giving back to the society is a huge subject. And that's where my family comes into play. My parents always taught me these very strong values. You give 1 and you get back 4. So I always feel the more we are giving it to the service to the clients, that client has left and joined another company. He's only carried good memories about Liz Montagens. And today, I'm proud to say again, we are getting inquiries from such clients who have left their organization, and obviously they've left it to get a bigger post in another organization. They are in powers of position. So imagine what's happening. You have given a good service, a good value, and you're getting it automatically. Just last week, I get a inquiry from one of my clients who was in India. He goes to Middle East, ADNOC. Everybody knows how difficult it is to work in ADNOC. You may take 2 years to only get registered.
Yes, yes.
He knows what kind of quality work and very critical work we do. Trust me, he's not only got us registered, he has made us tie up with a local company who's registered with ADNOC, not in our business, but we are trying to talk business. I believe these are miracles. You give it and you get back from corners, and God always gives something from areas which you just cannot believe. So I have many miracles to talk like this.
Episode number 8 surely had to be my favorite or my dearest or my closest episode to my heart. The reason I say that is I had my guest in Dr. Shripad Kamath, whom we lovingly call Ajit. Ajit has been an excellent human being all through his life, and I know him as a humble person. I know him as someone whom the Vascocars, or rather the port town of Vasco, Goa, would be proud to call as the son of the soil.
Contrary to the popular belief in Goa, I would say Vasco people have been very disciplined. Well, initially when the pandemic came, it was more of ostracizing the people from Vasco.
Very true.
It was a very difficult situation because most of the people I knew were following the protocols well. See, there were some incidences where certain areas were, quarantined. Government also did their best. The health system also did their best. So a lot of things have gone. See, we only see we get to hear or we get to read all the negative parts. But there have been a lot of COVID warriors, lot of people who have been very disciplined. So I would not agree that Port Town has been indisciplined. I would not agree. But I'm giving my personal viewpoint because of meeting so many people. And I know even my patients how responsible they were during the pandemic. So they would wear the mask. They would come in singly. Even when they would maintain good social distancing. So I would not complain about anybody misbehaving or something like that. But that's the contrary belief which all of people from Vasco are somehow being blamed for.
Right. No, I think you represented Vasco and clarified that pretty much very clearly for the world to hear. So I'm sure the Vasco cars will be very, very proud of your statement there. Episode number 9 was to be broadcasted in the month of December. And come December, the two things that come to mind, or rather certainly to my mind, is food and music. So when it comes to food, I had to bring in someone who is associated to a restaurant. And when I thought about a restaurant, Bharat from Karwar came straight to mind. Bharat, who is the co-owner of Amrut Hotel, was my guest for episode number 9, which was broadcasted in the first or the second week rather of December. What can I say about this man? The maturity that this man or this young man carries on his shoulder only suggests how Amrut would have reached or attained what it has today in terms of its popularity among many tourists or travelers traveling via Karwar, and of course in Karwar itself. So this little advice coming from Bharat or from this clip would confirm my claim, and I'm sure this businessman or my friend in Bharat would go a long way in achieving greater milestones in his career.
For you to shine like a sun, you should burn like a sun first. So these things are there. So for the young generation, what I try to tell them is like, patience, take a pause. Don't jump into anything. Pause theory is very important, Alan.
True.
Anything, any problem that comes or arises, take a small pause, 1, 2, 3 days, or maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes, or 1, 2, 3 hours, and see the difference.
And finally, had to wrap up this year, well, rather an extraordinary year, if I may, with some cheer. And the guest of episode number 10 was Eden D'Souza. Eden basically, was just stunning in what she had to relay and portray through this episode. And I regard her as a strong role model for the young generation. If you don't believe, you need to watch the entire episode that was broadcasted on the 19th of December. But listen into the small clip and get convinced.
So I would just like to share something to all of you out there who are pursuing music or any extracurricular. Just go ahead, do it. Because if it's something that you love doing, I think, and it's something that you enjoy doing, I think you should just do it and not, don't hold back. Like, don't let anyone let you down or don't let them bring you down just because it's an extracurricular. Because I know they say academics. It is important, no doubt. But your extracurriculars, your music and everything, and especially if you have supportive parents, which I'm really grateful for.
And so there it is. 10 vibrant episodes of Ground Zero Everyday Leaders is what we've had so far. And I can't wait to bring many more in the future. And I'm sure that we all have seen 2020 go by, and we want to welcome 2021 with that energy and zeal. And I'm sure the people and the guests I'm going to have going forward as well will bring as much as energy to keep us all motivated on the ground. Keep watching and keep listening in to Ground Zero Everyday Leaders. This is a program which is completely brought in with a lot of honesty, a lot of meaning to it. Meaning to say it has a purpose to bring or raise the awareness among youth especially about how important leadership is. Leadership plays its role. It plays its role in a broad way. We are all leaders on the ground. But let us pick some qualities of great leadership from some unknown heroes, some heroes of stories whom I've loved to relay through this talk show. Thanks for watching in. Please continue watching the series. And also like and share and ask your friends and peers to subscribe to my channel. That is the only thing I can ask from you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alan D'Souza signing off yet again, requesting you to be continuing to stay safe, staying healthy, and I will do my best to do the same. Happy New Year once again. Blessings and wishes to you